Hey guys, what is going on? And we've got kind of a fun one today, a fun video. So as you guys know, talked about it all yesterday. It's been the hottest topic of Rocket League as of recently. SquishyMuffinz leaves Cloud9. He joins NRG. Turbo Pulsa kicked from NRG. Cloud9, the esports organization, leaves Rocket League entirely. Alright, Cloud9 is no more. But this video isn't going to be about Cloud9 specifically. It's going to be about a couple teams. It's going to be about NRG, it's going to be about Rogue, and it's going to be about G2. And as always, before we start, if you guys do enjoy the video, hit subscribe. Subscribing lets me know you enjoy the content, and I'll keep making it if I know people are enjoying the content. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at @share_ZRL. Trying to hit 1,000 followers on Twitter, guys. Woo! But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Also, before we start, I've been getting some comments recently saying that sometimes I'm not great at getting my point across efficiently, and you know, I understand that. I honestly do suck at getting my point across sometimes, but I want to make the content as enjoyable as possible for you guys. So I'm gonna try to make sure I don't reiterate myself too many times. But if I do, just let me know. I'm trying to fix that. I'm really just not good at getting my point across in concise words. But yeah. All right, now hear me out. We're going to talk mostly about NRG, but I do want to draw some comparisons between other teams. And I want to kind of talk about what we can expect to see from NRG's new playstyle that they're probably going to try to develop, and where we're going to see the meta of Rocket League go from here. Yes, I think that the meta is changing, and I think it's changing right now. And I think it's all thanks to G2. So, and while I'm telling my story, I want you guys to think to yourselves, I want you guys to ask yourselves this question: why did NRG pick up another very mechanical player? Why did Rogue pick up another very mechanical player? Why was Squishy picked up? Why was Turbo picked up? Because as we know, that the meta usually revolves around that one mechanical player on the team who creates openings and then the other two clean up. That's kind of how it's been the last few seasons. So why is it changing? I'm gonna go back in time, talk about G2 in the World Championships for Season 7. They brought this new Rocket League playstyle, which was just pure offense. It was very offensive heavy. They were extremely fast to the ball. They just had constant pressure on their opposing team, and it worked, okay? It got them to the grand finals, which they lost to Vitality. And obviously in Season 8, it didn't work out as well, but Season 9 G2 are the best team in North America right now, thanks to that playstyle. And the playstyle that they have, or let me go over the players. They have two mechanically gifted players, JNeps and Chicago. Then they have Rizzo, who used to be their defensive player, but now he's kind of adjusted more to being an offensive powerhouse. And despite Rizzo not having the insane mechanics some other players do, Rizzo is a very talented player, and G2 have kind of, they've went one step further than like the meta. The meta was you have one mechanical player on your team to do all the heavy lifting, and then the other two follow up that player. And that's usually how it worked. But as of recently, at least in G2's case, they had two mechanically gifted players on the team. Then fast forward to what Garrett G said during Spring Series. It was in one of the interviews, and he said that they were trying to adopt a playstyle similar to G2's, where they're very offensive heavy, because G2's playstyle, it doesn't just work, it works very, very well.
I think it is going to be the playstyle, like the go-to. I feel like, at least in North America, like mechanics are starting to like overcome, you know, playing the perfect touch. Like if everyone's on the same page and it's the wrong move, sometimes it works out. They're just really good as a unit. I feel like they pass in super tough situations and somehow find each other. So, you know, if we could start to play more like them, I'd be happy. You know, their play style is probably the best there is right now. I don't know. It's super mechanical, but they also work as a unit at the same time. It's pretty impressive, honestly.
It seems like other teams right now want to copy G2, or at least come up with a playstyle very similar to what G2 has. And Garrett G said that they were working on this with Turbo Pulsa, but now Turbo Pulsa is off the team, and what do you know? They bring on another mechanically gifted player to the team, which makes NRG now have two mechanically gifted players, and, well, a third player who is also very offensive heavy. Because, you know, when you think of Garrett G, you don't think of, like, defense, right? When you think of Garrett G, you do think of an offensive powerhouse, just like what G2 has. And let's look at Rogue as well. Rogue have Turo and First Killer, who are both insanely good with mechanics. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the meta of Rocket League is changing, and it is changing from having that one mechanically gifted player on the team to having two mechanically gifted players on a team. At least for North America, this seems to be what the meta is going to be in Season 10. It seems right now the teams with multiple really good mechanical players are the teams that shine.
And the reason for this is because, as you've seen with G2, you can go for a more mechanically intensive play style in general. So the more mechanically gifted your players are, the higher mechanically intensive your play style could be, and from what we've seen, it yields good results.
So it seems like what these pro players are going for now is just that step. What's that step above? What's the next meta? And it seems like it's been found, and it's having two mechanical players. And I don't think three would make it any better. I actually think that having a bit of a diverse team, in a way, not just three mechanically gifted players, I think a kind of a diverse team is kind of what you need. But yeah, I want to talk about NRG now, getting to NRG. So I just kind of gave you the rundown of where I think Rocket League is headed in terms of meta, having two mechanically gifted players instead of one. So obviously Squishy and Justin, okay? Squishy and Justin are two of the most mechanically talented players in North America right now. But yeah, so what I'm actually thinking that we're going to see from this new NRG team is a more G2 kind of play style, and I think that that might be where we're going to see from Rogue as well, and I think that that's where the meta is going to go. I think that it's going to shift to having multiple players on the team that can really make things happen, because players have gotten really good at defending from mechanical guys such as Justin. Like, a simple flip reset is not as nearly as effective as it was back in Season 6 when SquishyMuffinz popularized it, and you know, it's just the evolving meta, and I think this is really where we're headed.
So now you might be thinking, well, you said that, you know, the flip reset isn't as effective as it was back in Season 6, so what makes you think having another guy on the team who can pull off the flip reset really well will be any better? And the point of having this extra mechanical player on the team is not to have someone else who can pull off a flip reset, which is good to have in your arsenal. That's not the point, and that's not what G2's playstyle kind of revolves around. That's not what Garrett G said he wants to copy. It's taking players who have really good mechanics and using that in a playstyle, using that efficiency in a playstyle where everyone's working together super fast, right, to create something that's above, that's more mechanically intensive, that's harder to replicate than anything we've seen before. All right, that's what G2 has made. That's what Garrett G said he wanted to replicate. So it's not about having a bunch of guys on the team that can pull off a flip reset or a musty flick. It's about having a bunch of guys on a team who work cohesively, who work fast, and play fast together, okay? Not just one player who plays fast anymore. That's kind of what's changing, and that's where NRG are gonna, it sounds like they're going to head towards. All right, and that's not to say that players like Rizzo and Garrett G and Carnovi don't have mechanics. They obviously have less than others. You know, that's not their main focus of their gameplay. But the mechanics that we're talking about is actually mechanical efficiency. The ones that have very, like, the ones who can get to the ball faster, get boost, beat other players to the ball, really good decision making. That's kind of the core of G2's playstyle. It's very fast, very mechanically heavy, but also relies on like perfect decision making as well as perfect mechanics. And the point really is that it takes a player with very good mechanics to emulate a playstyle like G2's, and I think that that's where NRG is going from. You know, they've come out and said in the past, Garrett G has said that G2 probably have the best playstyle right now, and that's what they're trying to mimic. Well, who better to bring on than SquishyMuffinz, someone with insanely good mechanics, someone who is very fast to the ball. And not only is he very fast to the ball, but he has the high level mechanics to back up maybe any mistouches that he makes.
So let's talk about NRG a little bit more. What do I think we're going to see from them? So I just went over, I think we're going to see more of a G2 type of playstyle, not just from them, but from other teams. And I think it's going to revolve around Garrett G being able to be that guy who not only can get in the mix and make plays whenever he's needed to, but probably be that guy who's going for demos, because on G2, Rizzo's kind of got that demo role, And I think Garrett G might kind of adopt that along with Kronovi. And I don't think Garrett G is going to be like full-time defense, because if you look at G2, Rizzo's not full-time defense. Rizzo actually makes plays and scores with their play style, and G2 are like the top of North America right now. Of course, people are going to want to copy what they do. What they do works the best. I think Yukio actually said it best himself. Most RLCS pros are actually very, very close in skill, but it really comes down to, at the end of the day, how well your team works together. It really depends on your play style. And I think this kind of new play style that we've been seeing develop, you know, we like to talk about how the demo meta was like the new play style. That was like the meta that people were trying to copy. We even see it with like Endpoint. Endpoint took it a step further, right? And Endpoint did very well in Spring Series. So these new play styles that we've seen emerge, these the demo meta, you know, the offensive heavy meta from certain teams, I'm kind of excited because I think it's going to usher in a new era of meta, I guess you'd say, a new era of just play style, and I think we're going to see some really cool stuff starting in RLCS Season 10. And then this also brings up the question, if NRG do adopt a G2 similar play style, if Rogue have a similar play style, and I say similar because they're not going to probably copy it exactly, but they're going to have probably a lot of similarities, because both those teams, 2 mechanically gifted players, 1 rock, just that seems to be where the meta is going. And it might mean that G2's playstyle won't be as effective if others can start to perfect what they do. And that's just a cool thing about esports in general. You know, a new meta's in, one is out, and then when everyone adopts that new meta, then it's time to find the next meta. And, you know, it's just a cycle of not even esports, just competitive things in general, right? If you're competitive at anything, you're going to adopt the new meta, but then once that doesn't work anymore, you find the next one, and, you know, it's just kind of how it works. Do I think that the whole league is going to just turn into a G2-esque playstyle? No, I don't think that at all. I think a couple teams, yeah, this is basically where I think that Rocket League esports in the meta is going to be headed from here, right? I think G2 has ushered in a new kind of era, a new wave of playstyles in North America, and I'm very, very excited just to see where Rocket League goes from here. I would love to see more teams develop an offensive heavy playstyle, because I've said this before, but other casters have also, a lot of people have said this, that G2 have, as well as Dignitas have, back in Season 9, had just the most entertaining playstyles to watch, because Dignitas for their passing, and then G2, yes, for their passing, but for their constant offense. And if we can get more just mechanically heavy teams focusing on offense, I think that the in terms of being a viewer sport, a spectator sport, Rocket League will be even more fun to watch, even more entertaining to watch, just because of the sheer nature of the play styles that we're seeing. You know, they cater to audiences, basically. They cater to fans, being super exciting, super entertaining. You know, even if you look at Vitality have, you know, Fairy Peak and Alpha 54 both have very, very good mechanics. Fairy Peak doesn't, you don't always see him use them, but because of his 1v1 game, Fairy Peak actually has very good mechanics. I'd actually go as far as to say Fairy Peak, if he wanted to, his mechanics could be better than Alpha, maybe, right? I think that if Fairy Peak wanted to, if he put more time into them, playing 1v1, it gives him I'd say a mechanical edge over some people who don't play ones, because ones is very good for getting good mechanics. I mean, a lot of very good mechanical players come from playing 1v1s, as we've seen. You know, Vitality don't have the same playstyle as G2, but they also do something that G2 does, which is have multiple mechanical players on the team, right? It's not just one player that is able to pull off something, and that is, I think that's just what people are going to start to go for.
And another good point to bring up is that it's not like no one has thought to do this before. It's not like no one has thought to have multiple mechanical players on a team before, and to have a playstyle that's extremely mechanically intensive. However, back in the day, there weren't that many really good mechanical players. Back when SquishyMuffinz joined RLCS, he was probably the best mechanical player in the world for a decent amount of time, and you know, SquishyMuffinz basically showed people that mechanics win games, and having good mechanics can be an asset. And SquishyMuffinz ushered in this era of having a mechanical player on the team to do stuff. You know, that was a huge part of the current meta that we've had the last few seasons, is because of SquishyMuffinz. But now players are getting so good at mechanics that we have more players to choose from, better players. We can see what it's like to combine different mechanical players and see if that yields good results. So it's not like people haven't wanted to do this before, but players have just gotten so much better mechanically that we can do it now. Like back in the day, back when Squishy was like one of the only good mechanical players, it's like, well, you can't have 2 on each team. You can't try stuff like this out. Back in the day, when it was JNaps, Rizzo, and Kernovi, JNaps was pretty much the only one on that team with mechanics. All right, and that's just because players are getting better. You know, they've gotten a lot better recently at mechanics, like the general population of professional players. I think it's very interesting where Rocket League is going. Right? I think that this move with SquishyMuffinz for Turbo Pulsar really shows that teams are looking for that extra mechanical player. They're starting to see how mechanics really helps, because if you look at G2, you might think, well, I don't always see Chicago and JNaps going for the flip reset or something like that, right? Which sometimes they do, but mechanics doesn't have to do with, it's not just flip resets, right? That's high level mechanics, but well, what matters a lot is mechanical efficiency, right? How fast do you get to the ball? How efficient do you use your boost? How well do you hit the ball with power? That's how efficiently you use your mechanics. And JNaps in Chicago and Rizzo are very good, okay? You got to understand, they keep pressure. They have to time when they get the boost perfectly. They keep pressure on their opponents. They don't let their opponents leave their half, and that has to do with perfect movement, okay? You know, G2's mechanical efficiency is like no other, and their high-level mechanics is pretty well off as well. I think that Rizzo's the only one on that team who I would say doesn't have a ton of high-level mechanics. You know, I'm talking about like you don't see him going for the musty or the flip reset usually in game, but Rizzo's still got mechanics, okay? He's some really good mechanics, and it mostly comes down to how efficiently he controls his boost, where he's positioned. All right, that's where Rizzo's mechanics come from, as well as the other guys on G2. Whereas in SquishyMuffinz and Justin's case, they're a more emphasis on high level mechanics, which also leads me to believe that, you know, we're not going to see an exact copy of G2's playstyle, because they're probably going to put more of an emphasis on high-level mechanics, you know, maybe the flip reset as opposed to mechanical efficiency like we see from G2. So I think that's where their playstyles will differ. So yep, that is everything I wanted to talk about, really, and this might have been a bit of a longer video than I originally anticipated, but I think that is a really interesting topic to talk about, and I have a lot of fun talking about these things. So yep, thank you guys all for watching. If you guys did enjoy, hit subscribe. It lets me know you enjoy the content, and I'll keep making it. Thank you for everything, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.